for giving me the chance to talk to you guys on our product and talk to you about how to secure and accelerate Office 365 revenue with cloud optimization services. So basically, to give you a snapshot on who Accordo is, we're a company that is based out of New Zealand. We started in 1999, and for the past 20 years, we've been one of the very successful Telesam vendors of Microsoft. We've actually campaigned over 1 million customers of Microsoft, generating over $3 billion in terms of revenue in the SAM and C business, out of which 800 plus million were in the cloud transformation revenue. And this has been all over the world in 40 different countries. And we're proud to say that all the revenue that we've generated was actually delivered through partners like you guys. So we're not a transacting partner. We don't have any intention to be a transacting partner. And we're proud that even 35% or even more of our engagement with partners, with customers, were actually fulfilled through partners like yourselves. So what we have found out in the past few years is that the world has moved from the regular license validation process into the cloud transformation, moving customers from on-prem to the cloud. And over the past few years, what we've witnessed with our partners that we've worked with is that customers are actually in need for more of cloud optimization services. Now that the customers has moved into the cloud, they probably want to look at the licenses that they have purchased, how to better utilize them, how to make use of them, especially that some of them has made a kind of a lift and shift into the cloud without looking at individual users' needs, which is something that is essential when you go through the exercise of moving into the cloud. So basically, what we have launched back in Inspire last year is what we call the Accordo Cloud Optimizer for Office 365. And the whole purpose of the product is provide managing partners like you, who are the custodian of the customer environment, with a single pane of glass across their customer base that would show them actually how their customers are utilizing the licenses, how far are they utilizing the licenses that they have purchased, and how they are performing in terms of adopting different and new products coming from Microsoft, like Teams, for example. We understand that Microsoft is very generous in terms of offering rebates around Teams adoption. So we're helping you guys drill down to the level of adoption across your customer base of Teams and how to increase the adoption of those customers. We're also looking at the Secure Score Index across your customer base and how your customers are performing. And we know that no client can turn a discussion around security. So basically, we categorize the Accordo Cloud Optimizer as a SaaS management platform that can actually help you proactively maximize your Office 365 margins, kind of accelerate revenue beyond licensing, and grow your managed services practice. We basically do that by highlighting issues before your client does. And it's very important that you guys jump on board as the custodian of the customer environment, find out how your customers are utilizing the licenses and help them adopt the licenses that they have invested in, therefore reduce the churn and also ensure the security posture is increased and maintained. We believe by doing so, we will help you deliver recurring revenues, build cloud practices, and even pull through projects and professional services, and consequently win new businesses. I'm not going to probably go through all this slide because I've already tapped on a great deal of it. But what I wanted to share with you very briefly is what our partners are telling us in terms of what do they expect from our product. And just to let you know, our product is geared by a partner advisory board that is actually a group of partners like you from different parts of the world, New Zealand, the US, the UK, and Australia. And they are actually the gearing engine that is driving the development of the product and the future roadmap. So basically, they are looking for, again, accelerating Office 365 revenue beyond licensing, improve their customer secure score and gain business around security, and help their customers even by looking at their security score insights, migrate from Office 365 into Microsoft 365. I'm going to take you briefly through some of the screens of the portal. This is, for example, the aggregated dashboard that you get across all of your client base, highlighting how many clients in total do you have, or the ones that you're managing, the total active users, the total licenses. It highlights a growth trend of each and every customer, showing you the highly growing customers, the incremental revenue customers, and also the customers that are declining. Something that you guys would love to look at and see what's happening at the client. Are they shrinking? Are they reducing employees? Or even worse, are they driving their business somewhere else? So from an MRR perspective, you look at the unassigned licenses within the customer environment, or even licenses that has not been used for more than 90 days. It means probably that the owners of these licenses or the users of these licenses are not anymore with the organization. And on top of that, a normalized secure score index across your customer base, who's performing well, who needs improvement, and so on. Now, you can drill down into the dashboard of any individual customer, looking at the licenses in a specific, looking at the different data and plans that they're having, who are the top users, how they are utilizing the OneDrive storage, and if there's any fluctuation that you as managed partner should look at. The OneDrive top users, spent by department, and then you delve into the recommendations that come out of these findings. Some of it are related to engagement, like if the customer has unassigned licenses or if the customer has not used the licenses. And we even sort these in terms of revenue impact that is directly related to the client. Now, last but not least, and I call this the crown jewel, is actually the insights around the secure score index. What we do is that we show you the secure score index across your customer base, and you can play with the filters to filter them either according to the status, or according to the category, or according even to the user impact. So you can start with the items that are actually less disruptive to the customer environment. Once you click on a specific customer, it's going to show you in details who's the customer, what are the actions that are completed versus not completed, and you can even play with the filters to find out the actions, for example, that are less disruptive to the customer environment. You can start by those. Even going further, you can actually develop a service around this and go and replicate it across your customer base. So, and that actually drives me to the end of my slide. I believe there is a complete deck with a lot of statistics around the market opportunities and even the pricing of the product that are part of the deck that Anusha is going to share with you. What I would like you guys to do is actually seeing is believing. So we're offering a 14 days free trial for each and every partner, no obligation whatsoever. All we need you to do is to log in to our website and kind of click on a free trial, start your free trial, upload your customers in, and kind of enjoy the insights and look at it. I believe your data definitely makes sense more than any demo data. I'm also available. I'm going to put my email on the chat box, and I'm also available to take you through a demo of the product whenever needed. Thank you very much, and back to you, Anusha.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Now we're just going to move on to Paul, but just before we begin, a reminder, please, can everyone turn themselves on mute if they aren't speaking? We are hearing a bit of disruption from a few of the attendees. Thank you so much, and over to you, Paul.
Well, hi guys, it's great to be back on this call again. I can see a few familiar faces there, so Happy New Year. Can we still say that? I'm not sure. Happy New Year anyway to everyone out there. I think most of you are familiar with myself. If you're not, then as you can see, my title is a Territory Channel Manager, so looking after our broad partner network, particularly focuses here on the modern workplace area. But I just wanted to cover a couple of key moments. Look, honestly, you guys will all be across this, but I just want to basically remind you of a few things and then just give you some insights into some of the offers that we have available for end of support as well. Okay, so let's just jump straight into it. So this is the single slide that really has everything on it. Please memorize these dates if you haven't already, and especially in terms of the Office 2010 and SharePoint 2010. There's probably not a lot of you that have SharePoint 2010 running still. At least I hope not. But a lot of Office 2010 still out there. So coming up for end of support October this year. And of course, we just went end of support January the 14th, just 2 weeks ago, for Windows Server 2008. and R2, and then Windows 7. I'm pretty sure that none of you have any customers with Windows 7 or Windows Server 2008, right? Yeah, it was a joke. I'm sure you've got some still out there. So yeah, our strategy for most customers, of course, is for Windows 7 to move them to what we term a modern desktop, which is of course Windows 10 with Office 365 Pro Plus, managed from the cloud using Intune and EMS and Microsoft 365 services. For Windows Server, we recommend that you can migrate the environment into Azure, and you'll get 3 years of free extended security updates if you can't move that application off Windows Server 2008, or obviously move to a newer Windows Server version, which of course we have available now. If you aren't aware of that, you can now buy Windows Server, including SQL Server and RDS CALs on the CSP price list now. So make sure you talk to your CSP provider / distributor about that. So if you have a customer you want to buy Windows Server for, or an application running on old Windows Server, you can move them into Azure and, for instance, purchase the RDS CALs that you may require for that via CSP. So I've just got a couple of slightly more detailed slides here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I've got a couple of links here, which, as you know, this deck will be available in Yammer later today or tomorrow, and I highly recommend reading Brad Anderson's blog post and our official Windows 7 end of support blog post that went out a few weeks ago. It has all of our strategy, what our future direction is around kind of Windows and how we see this evolving for the SMB audience particularly. And so if you aren't across Microsoft 365 Business, I highly recommend that you do. It's one of the best ways to get Windows 10 to start with, but it's also got all of the capability of Office 365 Business Premium, plus all the security pieces that most businesses need, from advanced threat protection to MFA and a couple of other key features that we think all businesses require. Just while we're on the slide, I'm going to call it out. I've probably been asked this question almost daily since the New Zealand Herald and Stuff published articles on, quote, how to get Windows 10 upgrade for free, unquote. I do just want to clarify that the free upgrade offer for Windows 7 ended in 2016. Microsoft does not offer a legal way to get to Windows 10 through the media creation tool, which is the suggested workaround online. Just be aware of that. Customers would be non-compliant if they use that method, unless they have an enterprise agreement with volume licensing keys. So hopefully that's pretty clear. The other thing I'll just quickly call out on here is, if you haven't already, please take a look at Windows Virtual Desktop. Windows delivered to any device, basically, from the Azure data centers around the world. So really great solution if you're thinking about how you can want to virtualize Windows. It gives you true VDI. It's a true actual desktop. It's your individual desktop that you log into. So a great solution. Start thinking about that for delivering, custom apps and unique things like that to users as well. All right, and then if we just jump on to, actually, I'll just quickly point this out. The notes actually are in the slide that you can read as well. But by moving to a modern device, this is independent data here. People save up to 2.3 hours a week, 40% better security coverage, and an average saving of 7.5 million a year for the average size customer moving to Windows 10. So obviously a lot of European, American large customers here included in this mix. So yeah, think about that. I've talked about Windows Virtual Desktop already. So let's just jump on to Windows Server, excuse me. So what I recommend is, again, if you're running Windows Server 2008 today, you can pop that environment straight into Azure, and you'll instantly get free extended security updates for that environment. And you'll also get the Azure hybrid use benefit with software assurance to bring down Windows Server SQL cost as well. So it's a great solution if you do have customers on Windows Server 2008. And obviously, as you know, you can upgrade to those environments to Windows Server 2016 or 2019 as well. This is not a product presentation. There are some more slides in here that talk about the feature capability of Windows Server as well. And then the other thing, just actually quickly on here, you can buy extended security updates as well for Windows Server and SQL Server. It's not really something we'd probably recommend. I mean, if you really have to, it's better to just pop it into Azure, to be honest. Cheaper to run, especially if it's on old hardware. And then the last point on the left-hand column is think about those applications and how they can be modernized to run on Azure Platform as a Service, where people can get a modern environment and improve security capability and posture. I'll just quickly finish up on CSP incentives. I just like to mention this anytime I get the chance to, because most partners probably aren't across the detail of this. I know we make it a little bit complicated sometimes. If you forget nothing else about incentives, just remember that you just need to ensure that you're enrolled in Partner Center for the CSP incentive, the reseller, or if you're a CSP Direct partner, CSP Direct incentive. They are the same rates. And just to kind of cover some basic examples here, if you were to sell through CSP a new customer ad of Microsoft 365, you're going to get the core incentive of 4% plus 2% customer ad plus the local New Zealand accelerator of another 10%. That's for Microsoft 365. So you're looking at around about 18%. For a new customer ad on Microsoft 365. And if we conversely look at Azure, the local incentive, well, we're still looking at that at 5%, plus the core incentive of 4%. And if you do reserved instances if you put that on the new Azure platform on CSP, then it's a 6%. Value. And then if you do reserved instances, so actually let me just take a step back. Just in case you're not aware, Microsoft is bringing all of our different platforms together. The EA platform, the Global Marketplace platform for Azure, the Azure Direct platform, and CSP are all going together into one commerce engine at Microsoft. And that is the move that we've just made with Azure on CSP. You can still buy the old Azure on CSP, or you can buy the new Azure on CSP. There are a few differences to it. The biggest difference is you get Azure Cost Manager and you get Azure Lighthouse, which allows MSPs to manage their customer environments through a single console in Azure Portal. So just be aware of that. Talk to your CSP provider distributor about that. And then I already alluded to it, but if you sell reserved instances, then we're going to give you an additional 10%. So if you were to do new Azure at 6%, plus customer ad incentive of 2%, plus Azure reserved instance of 10%, what are we up to? 18, plus another 5% local, so 23% if you sold Azure reserved instances on the new Azure platform today. The other great thing I'll just quickly call out is that under RIs now, reserved instances, it's a 1 year or 3 year commitment, but you can pay monthly now. So it's basically like financing your compute cost essentially over that term. So hopefully that helped clarify that. I'm always open to questions on any of this stuff, guys. We want to make sure you're all taking advantage of the money here. Every year money gets left on the table. So please do make sure you're leveraging this. If you want to get hold of me at any time, I'm going to pop my IM address on my email address. You can IM me as well in the window. And just lastly, we do have 3 customer ad accelerators. I'm just going to put my email address in here right now. And so, yeah, basically reasonably straightforward. If we look at Modern Workplace on the far right-hand side, probably the easiest one is to cover quickly because that's what most of you are selling. So a new customer that reaches $250 in monthly revenue, you will earn a 5% of monthly revenue additional earning for that. And then we also have the same thing roughly applies to Dynamics 365 in the middle there. And then for Azure, when a customer hits $1,000 in revenue, US dollars that is, per month, we'll give you a one-time payout of $500 and obviously $3,500 if you get to a $5,000 a month customer. If anyone has any large opportunities like that, please let us know. We're always happy to help out. We do have additional resources and funding as well that can support particularly Azure deployments as well around proof of concept funding and a number of other facilities to support customer deployments. So guys, my email address, paul.bowker@microsoft.com, is in the chat window. Feel free to reach out to me anytime on anything to do with partner network stuff, incentives, end of support, anything to do with CSP that I can help with. And with that, I'll hand back to Anusha. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you so much, Paul. Awesome. And I just want to double check that TA is on the call.
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. We have TA speaking from Vietnam, so I will let you take it away. Oh, and you're welcome
Thank you.
to. Yeah.
I'm actually based in Melbourne, to be honest.
Oh, you are. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yes. Okay. All right. So can I quickly share my screen?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay.
Yeah, share your screen. I'll take over the PowerPoint if you want.
Oh, no.
No, that's all right. I'm just quickly
Okay.
share it. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Anusha, for having me. Create Solutions, of course, like all of you, we are Microsoft partner, but we are more like solutions development partners. And I believe you are receiving calls from one of our partners, your customer actually receiving calls from our partners, DNF, about the CSAS assessments. So I am here today is to explain to you what is CSAS assessments. Okay, so I only have 10 minutes, so I will be very quick. And please let me know if you have any questions in the chat box. I am more than happy to answer them. Okay, so I just skip all that. All right, let's talk about cybersecurity first, right? So as you all aware of, cybersecurity is a hot topic nowadays, and not many people knowing what to do, or like shooting in the dark on what needs to be done, right? So they focus heavily on technology side of cybersecurity, but in fact, cybersecurity consists of three most important factors: policies. You need to know what you want to do before you do it, right? Before you purchase any solutions, and then you need to train your staff on cybersecurity. They need to have a good knowledge of what needs to be done. And of course, the policies on top of it to control it. Okay, so combining these three factors, human, policies, and technologies, will give you a great cybersecurity. And the assessment will help you in that. Okay, so the purpose is digital transformation is blooming nowadays, I would say, but most people thinking, have a mindset of getting things works first, secured later. And most people also think that cybersecurity is IT problems, so they don't pay much attention to it. That is not really true. And also, Microsoft has in the past few years they invested heavily into the security suite that they have. So in the assessment, we give recommendations on Microsoft technologies, matching to the problems that the customer might have, and then it works actually. I mean, in the past 2 years, it has been working so far, because most of the customers follow up the recommendations that we give in the report, because we tell them what needs to be done, what they need, instead of spending the whole day explaining all the features, all the great features on whatever like Windows ATB or Teams or AIB. We tell them that they need it because they have the problems there. Okay, so the purpose of the assessments is to provide roadmaps to the customer, the roadmaps of what needs to be done, and we follow the Syscontrol 7.1, which is recommended by US government, and of course Microsoft Azure environment is also applying this framework. I'm not talking about who will do the assessments. Probably it will be different in New Zealand market, so I will skip this for now. the values for the customer is to align the business and IT, or at least aligning between the policies and the technologies, and also, you know, putting human in the picture as well. And then optimize, because we don't want to give the customer the feeling that we just want to, you know, force them to buy anything. So we give them the optimizations in the report as well. Then if they already have what they need, then we just need to check on the policies part of it, and then we'll, you know, recommend on others, other sectors that might help them. Okay, let me just quickly go through the sample report. So this is the report after the assessment that we conducted for the customers. So firstly, of course, we explained to them what, you know, what we do is follow syscontrols as a framework. So it's more like the checklist for us. How's the Wi-Fi going? Ticks. How's the malware defense going? How's the network segmentations going? Ticks, etc. Okay, so we give them the average score and the maturity rating. And in fact, they don't really need to be on level 4. It's for like more for government intelligence. Normal business should land somewhere between 2 and 3. And then we give them the score and tells them that, let's say in 2020, your aim should be 2.5, because that's where you should be to enhance your cybersecurity. And then in the report, we explain to them what are the syscontrols and the current score based on each controls, and the recommendations based on each score. And in here as well, we also explain to them all the technical findings from the scanning. We do have the technical scanning and the interview with the questionnaire for the assessment. And in the technical scanning, we found out all the evidence. That's why we give them. That's why we give them the score that they have, right? And the evidence is just for like the big picture of cybersecurity environment. So we're not trying to drill down into, let's say, what machines had the problem, but we find out if we find one problems, then we need to fix it on the management level. So for example, if we still find out they still have Windows 7, then it's a critical issue for them. Okay, and then in the action plans, we summarize what needs to be done. Down here are all the technical analysis, details on, you know, the discussion, even with the questionnaire with the customer. And then up here in section number 2 is the roadmaps of what needs to be done and the recommendations, associate software products that could help them. And in this way, we could convince the customer, even the hard-hat customer, on what needs to be implemented. And we show them the roadmaps on what needs to be what needs to do first, like the quick wins, and what needs to be do later within 6 months or 12 months. And you, as Microsoft partners, will inherit this report, because this is your customer anyway. So it will inherit this report and to work on the roadmaps with the customer on the planning. And this is one of the ways that we convince the customer to follow up, to purchase all the Microsoft technologies, to transform, to convert it, for example. Like one of my customers in Singapore, they are using Google Cloud, but then through the assessment, we convince them to move on to Azure. And to do the assessment, there are, as I mentioned, there are 2 parts that needs to be done. We need to do the technical scan and we need to do the questionnaire. And all that is within one of the tools that we develop, which is called CSAT. So we develop ourselves a tools, an assessment tools, which is very easy to use tool, and it only needs to install in one of the VM that the customer have, and it can scan the rest of the environment, so that we can collect the evidence of the problems. And we also have the questionnaire. The CSAT will have the questionnaire, the guideline of what needs to be done in the assessment. And this is not a big, these are all the data collected, and this is not a big IT project or anything. It's not going to take weeks or months or anything. It only takes a few days for the assessment. For some of our customers, it only takes 4 hours. Okay, and I guess that is pretty much it on what I need to share. If you want to discuss more on the CSAT assessment or become our partners, I'm more than happy to. You can reach me out via my email, which I will also put into the chat box for you.
Hey, thanks, TA. I just wanted, it's Paul Bowkett speaking again. Look, guys, it was super important for us to have TA talk through the CSAT tool. Just to reiterate what he mentioned at the start, we do have Denave, our tele outsourced vendor, calling into New Zealand companies, as Darren alluded to earlier. And so some of that activity is we're offering customers the CSAT assessment. And so please do expect to have some of your customers potentially get that. But I want to make sure that we reiterate this is a really valuable exercise, and it will help you to drive more business with your customers, right? This is all about helping us collectively, not about trying to take business away from you or anything like that. We also don't want to step on toes though, so please do reach out to me as well if you have a customer scenario where you think it's not right for us to introduce that to them, where we have done that, or if you've got a customer that you think would benefit from this today, then ring up, let me know. The guys at QS Solutions are more than happy to help with individual partners executing this as well. So please reach out to me on this. Thanks, TA.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Fantastic hearing from both of you. So basically that's us for today in terms of the speakers, and I'll leave, we have actually finished a little bit earlier, which is awesome, but I'll leave the next few minutes just for anyone to ask any questions, or whether anyone wants to discuss anything, or any of our speakers want to expand on what they've already said. And just before I forget, there are links up here that I will put on Yammer that you guys can use to download the calendar series if you haven't already, which I hope you have since you're on here, and join our Yammer community because that's where most of our updates do end up going. But yeah, the floor is open to any one of you.
Hi, team.
Yeah.
Hi, team. David here.
Hey, David.
G'day. Who was the first speaker? My apologies, I was a couple of minutes late.
We had Ken speaking first. Ken, are you still on the call?
Yeah, I'm still here. So
No,
yeah, I covered.
I don't know who it was because I just heard him talk about SAP and I thought, oh, it's interesting. I might be able to pass that on, but I didn't hear what the beginning was. And of course, the session didn't start to get recorded until the speaker, I think the second speaker or third speaker started.
Yeah, sorry, that was my fault.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I think the slides are pretty self-explanatory in the first set bit, David. So yeah.
Awesome. Oh yeah.
Okay. You grab the slides tonight or tomorrow off Yammer. Let me know if you've got any questions.
Thank you very much, and thank you for sending those links. By the way, I actually was reading his blog just the other day. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Just since I've got the mic here, the guy Brad Anderson who's posted the blog about M365 business and the security posture around SMBs and the global opportunity. It's really like quite encouraging. We have some of the most senior people at Microsoft really thinking about how we serve the SMB market a lot better. And I think the direction we're heading with that is really good.
Yeah, awesome. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to ask anything?
Feel free to drop questions in the IM window if you want as well.
Absolutely.
Or feel free to leave if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think.
By the way, actually, if you've got suggestions for content that you'd like us to cover, please do let us know. Just drop us an email, nzpartner@microsoft.com or to me. And we're more than happy to entertain all sorts of different options and ideas. I'd like to spice it up a bit.
Yeah, I think the external speakers this time around as well. So excited to have you guys.
Yeah, we're very excited to be here as well.
Okay.
So I can come every month.
Might have started.
Right. Well, if that's it, thank you very much for everyone who made it today, and we'll see you next month. And these will be up on Yammer before the end of tomorrow. Hopefully the recording is up next week, as it has to go on YouTube. Thanks so much, guys.